I started working as a commissioning engineer, so testing engineer, doing testing for emissions and pulsations for gas turbines around the world. I started the studies in Brazil. I started my bachelor, and then for my master's studies, I moved to Europe. I worked with so many different people and also in other environments, right, in other countries. Communication is also, I think, it's a very important skill that sometimes is a bit taken for granted. The most challenging part was the cultural differences in communication. And this was then how I started to get interested and to read about it and to learn it and to then be able to implement that at the workplace.
Welcome to EngineeringPro, the podcast where we dive into the diverse world of engineering and the incredible individuals shaping its future. I'm your host, Matt Nicholson, and today I'm joined by Andressa Bortolan, a talented process engineer in the gas industry. In this episode, we'll explore Andressa's journey, her day-to-day experiences in the industry, and the unique challenges she's encountered as she navigates a new culture and professional landscape. We'll also touch on the vital role communication plays in engineering, especially for those bridging cultures. So, hi Andressa, thank you very much for joining us today on EngineeringPro.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad to be talking to you.
Great, thank you. I'm looking forward to the conversation, and I'll start off straight away with our first question. What was it that initially sparked your interest in your engineering career? Where did it all start?
Yeah, so I guess it started when I was a child, that I was obsessed with Lego. And it wasn't just about creating and building things, but it was about figuring out how things worked and solving issues. So afterwards at school, my favorite subjects was maths and physics. So that's why I decided going for engineering. And the moment I was sure that I made the right choice was when I started working with commissioning. Where I saw that literally dozens of things can go wrong at the same time, and that I enjoyed solving the issues, and that was a really nice sensation of troubleshooting, and that was when I was sure that was the right career for me.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, it sounds like it was you had a good idea of what you wanted to do straight away, kind of thing, and it really energized you, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So you studied I believe you're originally from Brazil, but you moved to Europe to study. Is that correct?
Exactly. I started the studies in Brazil. I started my bachelor, and then for my master's studies, I moved to Europe.
Oh, cool. So how did that experience shape your career? What was it like relocating, halfway across the world for study?
Yeah. So the whole experience started when I went to Germany to study, to work as au pair, babysitter, because I wanted to learn the language. And that was already a very challenging experience because I needed to communicate or take care of the kids without knowing the language. So I started studying German over there. So it was a very, very challenging experience that teach me how to deal with difficult situations and also how to be flexible, because there I started to see to notice cultural differences, right? For me, I grew up my whole life in Brazil. That was like what was normal for me. The way that we communicate, the way that we act was the normal, the common thing for me. And I started to see, okay, there are other cultures that do things that can be completely different than the way I was doing. So that was the start of checking how to adapt to different cultures and to situations. And when I was in Germany, then I came to Switzerland for an exchange semester before. And then afterwards came back for my master studies. That shaped me in a way to really to adapt to different situations.
Oh, brilliant. Did you find even differences between Germany and Switzerland in the way that made
Yes, definitely. That was also a big shock because for me, I mean, it's so close. I was in Munich and came to Zurich, so it's maybe 300 kilometers. And I mean, also I'm in the German-speaking part of Switzerland, right? So I thought, okay, it would be very similar, but definitely not. It is there are so much difference between Germany and Switzerland. So yeah, that
Yeah.
was a very interesting note for me as well.
No, that's brilliant. And I imagine it's really good to have that kind of broad experience and finding out different things about how different cultures work. That ties in quite well with, traveling the world and learning a little bit about how the industry works in different places as well, which has obviously served you quite well. So it kind of leads nicely into the next question, really. When you've finished your studies and started your early career, what was that experience like, and how have things kind of changed from when you started to now?
Yeah, so I started working as a commissioning engineer, so testing engineer, doing testing for emissions and pulsations for gas turbines around the world. And so on the beginning, I found it more very physically demanding because I was traveling, as said, to all countries around the world, and then because of time differences, because of night shifts, because of course we were doing outages, so the power plants, they wanted to go back for the normal operation as soon as possible. So we were doing the testing 24 hours. So that means working 24 hours. Normally we were two people, so only two shifts, so working 13 hours. 12, 13 hours. So it was very physically demanding. And also, of course, I started with easier projects with more so newer gas turbines where there are clear procedures, where there's a bigger team. And then after that, I started going towards more complex projects, and also gas turbines that are not so common. So yeah, you needed a lot of knowledge in order to be able to know how the operation concept works and how to adapt it. So that was changing a bit of the complexity of the projects. But yeah, then when I changed from commissioning to an office-based job, that was also very different because people working on commissioning, as said, there are so many problems, so many issues, and people are much problem solving oriented. It's like you're not questioning why that problem happened, right? It just happens, and you need to solve it as soon as possible. And then working in the office is different because yeah, people first want to know, yeah, why this is happening, and I have the feeling it's a completely different work environment because it's not so solution oriented as I was used to. So that was I mean, kind of the main differences on my career that I noticed.
Okay, thank you. What would you say has kept you engaged and motivated in that organization for this long?
Yeah, so I guess the networking is the main reason. Because yeah, you start work. I mean, I worked with so many different people, and also in other environments, right, in other countries. Also, the amount of issues that we're having bring people really close together in order to manage the challenges. So I have a very good networking within the company, and of course, also it's a company that really acknowledges and rewards good work. So that's also for me very important to know that they recognize you, and yeah, because also they support my private life of the employees. I think that this is also a very important point. I feel supported. I feel there is an open communication channel. I can give my opinion. I'm heard, although it's a very big company. So all those reasons make me want to stay working with them.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And it's really good when you find employers that are progressive in that way, that are forward thinking and think of their entire workforce. I think that ties in quite well to our next question. Obviously, here at NES Faircroft, annually we have the Women in Energy survey, where we study and survey women in engineering and their experiences in finding and retaining jobs and engineering work and how their career is going. So, for you personally, how do you think your position as being a woman in engineering has influenced your view of the industry and your career path?
Yeah, so I think That's quite a difference between Europe and South America, because in Europe you don't see many women studying engineering, whereas South America or Brazil, in my class, we were half half. We was half women, half men. So that was it's not even a thing. I mean, of course, for some kind of engineer, like electrical engineering, yes, there are more men than women, but like in general, there are not so much this gender difference that I see and I hear here in Europe so much. I mean, here you could really, really see that there was so few women studying engineering, and I don't know how it is in the UK. But I imagine it's also similar from what I see in commissioning. We don't have many women candidates, but yeah, I wonder why. I wonder why it's like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Is it that are there more engineering opportunities in South America, perhaps that's not necessarily seen in Europe, or is it a cultural thing? Or?
I don't think that there are more opportunities. I think it's like more or less the same. And I also don't know. I mean, culturally, if I would think, I mean, South America's maybe in the previous generation when it comes to women, yeah, doing the homework, the tasks in the house and so on, like the role of man and woman is actually a bit less progress than here in Europe. That's why I would imagine the opposite, that are more women in engineering or jobs that, usually men are doing over here and not in South America, but it's the opposite. So it's very curious. I don't know why. But yeah, coming back to your question, yeah, so I think that the fact of being a woman didn't have any influence in the like choosing my career and in my studies in Brazil. But yeah, over here, then I started to see, wow, okay, this is really a thing that I'm a woman in engineering. So I don't. It didn't change my view of my career path or so. Um, I just saw, yeah, there were some situations that I saw how it is different within the cultures, right? So in some countries that I've been, I felt overwhelmed with people wanting to help more than I needed. So that was very curious how it is, right, in different cultures to be a woman. It's so different.
Yeah. Have you felt that where you are now, has it been an influencing factor? Is it something that's affected your career, or is it have you felt supported in have you felt supported in your career where you are now? Obviously, you say that you're happy there and stuff. Is that partly because of the equity and the opportunities?
Yes, yes. I think that over here it's when we treated equally. I feel like I'm treated equally.
That's great. That's great, and it's good to hear. That it's one of the things we do ask quite a lot in all of our podcasts because of our work with women in engineering and the projects that we support on our side in terms of getting more women into the engineering fields. Of these areas, what would you say has been the most challenging part, and how did you overcome it to get where you are?
Yeah, so I guess the most challenging part was the cultural differences in communication, and that also in some cases also for being a woman in some countries that was challenging, and so the way to overcome was to not take things personally and learn about the cultural differences and different ways of communication as well, because It is some things that are also, I mean, for me, even South America, Europe, right? You may think, okay, no, it's similar way of communicating. No, it's not. It is in Brazil, we're not direct enough. I mean, we have this indirect communication, and so that was, I think, the most challenging. Well, for sure, the most challenging part. And this was then how I started to get interested and to read about it and to learn it, and to then be able to implement that at the workplace.
Thank you. Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense for engineers generally, not necessarily Europe, but globally. Obviously, there are what we call hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills being the things you study for, your qualifications, your certifications, but obviously these soft skills of communication and being able to teamwork with global teams. This is becoming more and more important. So, just a little bit more on what you've said there. What do you find have been the most important soft skills for your career? Obviously, you mentioned communication has been a big one. Has there been anything else that you would say is important to concentrate on in the energy industry or in the engineering industry?
Yeah, I would say to be able to adapt, flexibility, and adaptation is really, really important. To adapt to different environments, to adapt to different situations, and especially I see many engineers that are not, they cannot deal with things going not the way as planned. And well, especially for commissioning, it is something, a skill that you should have to be able to understand. Yeah, things will not always go as planned, or at some points it's much more frequent that it doesn't go as planned, and just be able to adapt. And I think that the problem solving, right, mentality, this is also very important to when you need to act quickly, you just concentrate on solving a problem. When you focusing on problem solving, and then then you find out the reasons, or not, not trying to find more problems, but problem focusing on solving them.
Yeah, brilliant. So, obviously, you've mentioned there resilience, being able to work under pressure, being able to focus when you need to be able to focus, being able to trust in a team, and being able to communicate your role. All really important for a solid career, I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, communication is also, I think it's a very important skill that sometimes is a bit taken for granted, especially for professions like engineering that, people focus much more on the technical skills. And I think that those skills are very important. And also, the companies that are also enabling you to go for trainings. And I think this is something I forgot to mention, that is also very important to develop your soft skills.
Yeah, brilliant. And like you said as well, it's the engineering industry is becoming more global. People are moving around the world for jobs and opportunities. So the traditional cultures of an individual country are being mixed with this global workforce, and being able to learn how to adapt quickly to different ways of communicating with people is really important for really a good team dynamic, I suppose.
Yeah.
So just thinking a little bit from the other side of that then, and thinking about the sorts of companies that you've worked for, and just thinking about the amount of engineers that are in the industry. Obviously, there are global talent shortages at the moment as the industry is growing, and there's not enough engineers to fill some spaces in those places. What are the kind of strategies, and what can companies do who are looking to attract and retain new engineers and talented engineers? What would you recommend that they would do to do that?
Yeah, I would say to invest in trainings and capabilities of developing opportunities of developing the soft skills. I think that this is very important, and the recognition and rewarding. I mean, doesn't even need to be, some financial rewarding and this kind of things, but only, the recognition. I think that this is very important to see that people are really, really recognizing what you're doing, that your hard work, and also the support for the private life. because I think, well, especially now with this whole AI, and I don't know, I feel a bit overwhelmed with all that and the future. So I think that um, taking care of your private life and your private time is very important nowadays. And so I think that support for the private life is also a very important thing.
Yeah, and I imagine as well having that as much flexibility as you can. These long shifts do still occur, but technology is changing
Mm.
that helps people stay in contact with their families and stuff as well, and that's all really important for attracting people. They're expected to work alone or in small teams for weeks and weeks at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that for me is also when I see other people, right? They are moving away from their families. They are yeah, investing so much time for work or for those projects, and I find it yeah, sometimes people take that for granted, right? But it's a I find it a very a lot of commitment that people do for that, and they should get some benefit. Of course, as you mentioned, is a very well paid job, but also some flexibility and benefits for their own lives. I think, for example, to have a time off or to have a rotation, this is very important. It also it gives more motivation to people, right? When you get some time off and you come back with even more energy and motivation. So I think that this is very important.
Yeah, and obviously with the challenges of finding engineers and pulling engineers from other industries, that works the other way. So people who are developing electrical engineering skills, structural engineering skills, they're competing with other industries that might have more flexibility potentially. So having these benefits is necessary for people who can move not just around the energy industry, but in and out of other jobs as well.
Definitely, yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. So you touched a little bit there on AI. So just thinking a little bit more about how AI is kind of and digital technology is evolving and it's kind of coming into the workplace a bit more. Have you seen AI being used more? Are you seeing it change your job in any particular way?
Up to now, not really, no, because most of the well testing and commissioning it needs to be done by people who are there in person. So I didn't see much of a change in the area that I work with.
Okay. Do you think it's going to change your industry in the next 5 years? In what way? In what kind of way do you think it might affect your role? Do you think it'll be helpful with data, for example? How do you think it'll affect you?
Yes, I think it will be helpful with changing forecasting and changing the schedule with things that are foreseeable in a short term, for example, change of the weather and so on, that it will be able to adapt the schedule quite quickly and the forecasts. I also think that for the administrative work and paperwork kind of thing, this will also support. So probably we will be able to reduce the people who are in the projects for the installation and commissioning. But yeah, so this is I think that this will change in this way, more on being able to optimize the time and the schedule and the forecast.
That's really interesting. And then, obviously, AI is a global. It's an opportunity, but there's also concerns with employment within the industry at the moment. Another concern within the industry and for new people thinking about the industry is things like climate change and how some of these industries are contributing to the changes in the technology that's kind of helping around that. But from your perspective, how is the gas sector adapting to kind of balance energy security with decarbonisation efforts?
Yeah, so it is being installed now with renewable energies, right? In order to ensure that when the resources are missing or not there, that we still have some energy supply which is reliable, and also the efforts for the carbon capture and storage. This is ongoing and it's being tested more and more. And yeah, I mean, this is something that was, I think, not really very well foreseen, right? That we would need now much more energy supply than previously. So I think for me, it is a surprise, everything what's happening the past 3 years. But yeah, and also, I mean, there is a lot of the development in the gas turbine industry. I mean, higher efficiencies and less emissions, and also the different fuels, as hopefully in the future they will be able to be operated with hydrogen. So yeah, there's a now. I mean, when it's noticed now, we still are really dependent on the gas industry. So there is a lot of efforts being done to optimize.
As you say, the last 3 years, it's not just geopolitical, which obviously continues to change even today at the time of recording, but also how quickly AI has developed this need for bigger data centers, which is increasing the amount of energy needed to use these computers to solve the very problems that they're kind of contributing to at the same time. So it's a necessary thing. How are you finding the technology around carbon capture and storage is evolving in Europe? Is that developing? Is that continuing to develop around the gas industry?
Yes, I actually did my master thesis on the subject, and then I had the feeling I didn't hear that much for a few years, and now I see coming back. Yeah, I think that maybe people were, maybe let's say 5 years ago, optimistic that renewables would be able to take over quicker, and right now that we see, okay, no, we still are really need, like, our energy is, demand is going much higher than that. That's my feeling, no, that this is now, okay, we really need it, because before it was, okay, we would need much more, yeah, much more um, energy if we use carbon capture and storage.
Based on that experience and your knowledge within the gas engineering industry, how do you see the sector heading in the next decade? How do you think that the energy industry is going to change?
Yeah, so I think that this will keep moving like that. I mean, keep doing all the efforts to see the renewable energy progressing, and also keep, as it's being done. I mean, keeping the gas turbines very adaptive and flexible to be used together with the renewables, and keep improving efficiency, lowering emissions. I think that the way I see is that we keep the strategy as it is, together with the carbon capture and storage.
Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think really interesting perspective, and obviously the whole industry is looking forward to a rapidly changing landscape. Everything's changing very quickly. The technology changes very quickly to keep up. But obviously, it's a very exciting time to be in engineering because
Yeah.
you're learning a lot. So one final question then, really. Obviously, we've had a really good conversation around what you're doing at the moment. What are your kind of career plans for the next 5 or 10 years? What's your main focus? What do you want to look at next?
So I'm 6 months pregnant, and for now, I think that this is taking a little bit of the focus on my career. So this is maybe some time that I will, yeah, focus on this other stage of my life, and therefore try not to have so much changes on my career. I mean, I'm also really happy that, as I said, that my company is supporting my private life. I'm happy that that I'm able to reduce my workload. So after the maternity leave, I'll come back with 60%, and then yes, I will see after this experience. And yeah, so for now, I would like to, yeah, just have some stability in order to take care about the baby and to see how life changes. And then afterwards I will see where I would like this the career to go, which direction to go to.
Oh, brilliant! And obviously, having a great employer means that that's an option, is to pick up from where you left off essentially and carry on. And obviously, this time will give you an opportunity to think about the global engineering industry. You could be literally anywhere. Really in 12 months time, which is really exciting, and the industry is evolving as well, so there's lots more to learn and develop, and then bring, having a new family changes anyone's perspective as well, so it's the world is open, isn't it, really?
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, my employer is also giving you opportunities to grow, and this is also a really nice thing from a company to have. But yeah, at some point you need to see how much of your private life do you want to compromise, because yeah, finally you have, depending on your workload, right? It's a big impact on your life as well. And yeah, I saw that sometimes we're just focused on growing, and sometimes, as now, you need to like, kind of take a step back, and yeah. So that's but good. Let's see. I'm excited to see how things are going to change, and how also how my view of the career and everything is going to change with that experience.
Great, thank you. So yeah, some really good information there. I think it's been a great chat today. We've learned a lot about your own career and your perspectives on the industry, some of the opportunities that are there for engineers who are looking at gas engineering, and also the future and how technology plays a great part. So Andressa, thank you very much for your time today on our podcast. Really fantastic conversation.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for joining us in this episode of Engineering Pro. We've been speaking to Andressa Bortolan about her journey from Brazil to Switzerland, her experiences as a process engineer, and the significance of effective communication in overcoming cultural barriers. We hope you've enjoyed today's conversation and found inspiration in her story. Don't forget to subscribe to Engineering Pro for more insights from engineering professionals around the globe. You can also find us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and TikTok for more content like today's episode. Thanks for tuning in.